remain in Gaza City under a fierce ground assault by Israeli troops who are aiming to take full control. Well, joining me in the studio to talk about the latest is Shehata from BBC Arabic. Hello, Saeed. So first of all, the situation in Gaza City, what are you hearing?
The Israeli military operations all over Gaza, not only in the Gaza City, but in the central and south also, because Gaza City in the north, so all over Gaza. Reports coming from hospitals, one of them, the Aqsa Martyr Hospital, said is about 11 people were killed because of Israeli airstrike at a house in Az-Zuwaida area. In addition to that, Al-Nusayrat and Al-Breach camps were targeted also by Israeli strikes, and some people were killed. On the top of that, there is some houses and areas in Khan Yunis in the south were targeted. On the top of that, in the Gaza City, thousands of people still fleeing from the bombardment of the Israeli operation. So now about 500,000 people moved from Gaza City to other areas, especially to the south, where there is no enough food or shelters, and people complaining, people coming on TV, talking with local journalists there, saying there is nothing there. So you walk 4 hours, they have suffering, and at the end, it's not good enough to be there. So it's a very tough situation for them.
Now, at the UN General Assembly in New York, there's been a lot of discussions about this, sideline conversations going on. President Trump speaking to Emmanuel Macron, the French president, saying he made a promise to him that Israel will not annex the occupied West Bank. President Trump had meetings with Arab and Muslim leaders as well. They said they had the same promise from the president. What do you know about that?
It's a welcome announcement by Mr. Trump to calm the fears of the Arab and Muslim countries with this regard. Mr. Trump tried to make a balance between his interests with Israel and his interests with the Arab and Muslim countries, especially the Gulf countries, because UAE said annexing West Bank is a red line. But some question will be raised here. Will Mr. Netanyahu accept and listen to Mr. Trump after the meeting on Monday? Because Mr. Netanyahu said will not respond until the meeting on Monday. 2, will this promise affect the E1 project, which will separate the north and south of West Bank and will separate between East Jerusalem and West Bank? In this case, there will be no viable Palestinian state. So whatever people recognize, and this was like a threat by Israel to annex part of the West Bank in order to respond to the countries who recognize a Palestinian state like UK and France and other countries. So will this affect that? In addition to that, will Mr. Netanyahu can Mr. Netanyahu convince the far-right minister, especially Smotrich and Ben Gvir, to accept that? On the top of that, there is no talk about a Palestinian state so far. So, and the raids of the Israeli forces inside West Bank is ongoing, and there is thousands of people were arrested in the Israeli prisons since October 2023 in the West Bank under the pretext, Israeli said, like they are behind the terrorists, what describes the terrorists there in West Bank. So all of that, this promise is good, but it's not good enough to have a Palestinian state and the stability and the end of the war in Gaza.
All right, Saeed, we'll speak to you again soon. Thank you for now. Thank you very much, Saeed Shehata there from BBC Arabic.